Hey there, and welcome back to another Dragon Prince video. And hallelujah! We've gotten another trailer on our hands, as well as a concrete release date. So really there's a lot to be excited for. And yeah, for those that obviously have seen the trailer, you'd know that the season is set to come out on Netflix on the 3rd of November this year, so not much longer to wait at all. Get hyped! But still, that leaves us with a trailer that we need to go through. With some repeat clips of course, but that's okay. But there's also a lot of straight up fresh content that we have not seen before. So that's very exciting. And so with all that being said, let's jump into the video. So to start off the trailer, like I said, we had a couple of repeats. There's a clip of Viren turning to stone from the announcement trailer we had a while back, and the scene where Claudia tells Viren that it hasn't been 2 days that have passed since he was killed in battle, but rather 2 years. So honestly, he's looking pretty good. After all, after 2 years, most corpses are not looking so intact. And then there's a clip of the Dragon Queen flying over Zadia, and it's not really showing off anything, but by God does it look epic. And it really does start to build that anticipation for the trailer to come and for the upcoming season. We then hear from Ezran in his little council chamber, where it's revealed that the Dragon Queen is coming to Katalis, which we knew from Comic-Con, and that she's bringing Zim along for the trip. So obviously this trip is likely what's going to kickstart the story properly. I wouldn't be surprised if the Queen's bringing them some sort of news, or a message that's going to push forward the narrative. I doubt they just instantly discover that Viren's alive though. I feel like it works better if they discover that fact early in the season, but not too early. You need to have a more dramatic reveal than that. Also, the chair in the council room just for bait? Hell yeah! Bait is clearly the most important advisor after all. We then see a clip of an elf cuddling with Zim, who's gotten a lot bigger, and I'm very hyped to see that. I'm still also holding out hope that the little fella can also talk. That would be a lot of fun, and it would also add a really interesting dynamic to the story. A fresh voice. But I could also just see them holding off until the literal final episode of the entire show. That also does feel like it would make a lot of narrative sense. But anyway, moving on, we then see Callum doing his best Gandalf impression and doing magic tricks for the kids, and hell, even for the adults. They're all having fun. And see, shit like this is why Callum is just inherently superior to Viren. Could you imagine Viren putting on a light show for the people using magic? Sounds ridiculous to even suggest. And we then have a few shots that follow up with the Callum missing Rayla storyline, where Ezran comes out to talk to Callum, presumably on his birthday, to ask him why he isn't excited, why he isn't celebrating, only to be told that now, his birthday's pretty much ruined every year, as it's the anniversary of the day she left. And yeah, honestly, in hindsight, what a dick move to absolutely just ruin somebody's birthday in such a cruel way. She could have picked literally any other day, but no. Let's go and ruin your boyfriend's birthday for all time. And even if she was expecting to come back within a couple of weeks to months, it still ruins that year's birthday. My God, so selfish. Anyway, Ezran then makes the most obvious comment in the world. You still love her, don't you? Oh, nah mate, I'm just sitting here acting all depressed for fun. What do you think, Pipsqueak? And then we move back to the Claudia and Viren storyline, where she tells him that her spell, which has brought him back to life, will only last for 30 days, which really isn't all that long at all. But that Erebos will be able to save him, and thus they have to find him and free him. And then, there's not really a lot of clips of note here, but there is a weird moth elf thing, and I assume that's what hatched out of the cocoon. Sort of looks like an Erebos moth hybrid. Creepy. And I know it's not Erebos himself, but he must be connected somehow. Also, in this scene, Claudia does sound quite intense when she's saying about how Erebos can save her father. Yeah. That mental breakdown is going to kick into high gear very soon, especially when Erebos betrays them. Delicious angst. My body is ready. We then get clips of Callum seemingly trying to tinker with a bunch of magical equipment in Viren's old lab. Well, I guess it's Callum's new lab now, but yeah. It's nice that we've had this time skip and we don't have to suffer through him being a complete and utter novice at magic. We can actually, see him do proper magic. Also, Bait and Callum just chilling out together? Hell yeah! Truly the most blessed timeline. Bait should just be in every scene and interact with every character in the show. Just change the name of the show to Prince Bait. Call it a day. And then it seems like Erebos is blowing a kiss for some reason, and that magic mirror cracks. So I'm gonna guess that Callum's able to make contact with Erebos. Does make sense, I suppose. Dude's a chess master who plays games with people. Him trying to get in Callum's head would make for a very interesting storyline with plenty of narrative potential. Either that, or they have one conversation where Erebos talks a bunch of shit towards Callum and then manages to break the mirror to cut the connection. I feel like it's one of those two things. Then we see a couple of flappy dragon scenes, and honestly, I have a suspicion that this show is going to see an uptick in interest from new fans who get targeted ads because they're fans of House of the Dragon. Maybe I'm delving into conspiracy theory territory here, but I wouldn't be shocked to see that they really emphasize the dragons in the trailer to sort of bridge that fandom gap and leech a little bit of interest. That's what I would do. And if it is true, I think it's a very smart play. After all, House of the Dragon is popping off right now. Anyway, we then have a massive speech from Ezran that's overlaid over a shit ton of clips. So we'll address the speech first, and then the clips. So yeah, there really isn't all that much to the speech itself. It's quite typical Ezran. It's a speech that promotes peace and advocates for not taking revenge and choosing the violent path. Pretty generic all things considered, but honestly, a lot of his speeches in the show are. They're still fun, but yeah, they're kind of vanilla if you get what I mean. And then there's a few shots of dragons flying, that red dragon, the dragon queen, Ezran giving his speech in the desert to a bunch of people, and the dragon queen's also just standing there listening to him, which honestly it looks so silly. Like, imagine you're settling in to hear your king's speech, and this massive ass dragon parks herself right next to you and sits down. Hell, imagine being behind her, thinking you have a great spot, and then suddenly you can't see shit. We also see that Ezran seemingly had a painting commissioned of, is that him and Zim and the queen? Either way, it looks like the painting has a hole in it. Then there's a look at the wedding, or is this the proposal? Hopefully it's just the proposal, because imagine turning up to your own wedding in full armor, whilst the other bride is all dressed up with flowers in her hair. At least put on a nice tunic or something. We also see, is his name Terry? Braiding Claudia's hair, which was very cute. And I do not want this guy to be a secret psycho. I just want him to be wholesome, to contrast with the others on his team. Although, I very much do see him being either a secret psycho or dying if he's actually just a nice, wholesome person. But anyway, I guess we'll see. We then have a scene of Claudia battling some random elf, and we cut from her beating his ass to looking like she's lost. So I wonder what order those sequences play out in. Is it going to be the same battle, different battles? Have they mixed up the order of events? After all, it did look like they're in different rooms in each of those shots. Anyway, we then cut through so many goddamn scenes that it was hard to keep track. But I'll do my best to talk through the things I found most cool, epic, important, notable, something like that. So there's a stone giant looking kind of guy, and that looks pretty awesome, and I'm guessing that's going to be some sort of villain or enemy. Then there's a woman who seems to be on trial in the Sun Elves region, and the queen draws her sword, and it looks like she's going to attack her based on the reactions of those present. Although, I also kind of feel like this is a psych out, and she's actually just going to cut through the chains around her hands and let her go. Viren falls off a cliff, his new favourite hobby apparently, and one of the Sunfire Elves unleashes some magic. Not really sure on whom, but since a bunch of people seem to be standing around like it's a council or something, maybe he challenged for leadership. Is that a thing that's possible? We see Callum and Bait, again, hell yeah, whooping some giant lizard ass. And then there's a bunch of repeat shots, and we see Callum with the dark magic eyes. Which is quite interesting because didn't he stop using dark magic? We then see Zim unleashing some lightning inside a cave with a bunch of creepy beasties, and it looks like the entire gang was with him in that shot. Rayla included, I'm pretty sure. The Dragon Queen roars, Callum flies around with his wing spell, before we get a look at older Rayla, saying that Callum looks nice. And hey, she even has a pet monkey thing. And I feel like this scene is just going to be so deeply awkward. And I'm going to be shocked if Callum's all that happy to see her after all this time. I'm expecting premium angst. And then we finish off with, I think, Rayla fighting some random dragon rider dude. And then an even bigger and more intense looking dragon. So yeah, they're really going hard on the dragons this time around. I'm very hyped for that. Who doesn't love dragons? So yeah, this trailer was awesome, and I'm very hyped the show's almost here. The only problem is, it'll all release at once, and then my life will be empty once more. How depressing. But yeah, anyway, with all that being said, these were just my opinions, and now I'd like to hear yours. What did you think of the trailer? Did it get you hyped? Maybe not. I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know.